G'day guys, welcome back to another video with Enno here from Fantasy Take TV. Today I'll be going through some FPL resources. So the main websites that I use to manage my team throughout the season, look at things like price changes, ownership, live statistics, check your rank during a given game week. You can plan ahead as well, but I won't spend too long on this. I guess we'll quickly get into it and go through it. So as you can see, I've put the countdown up on the screen, and just over a day left till the kickoff. So if you haven't started finalising yet, now is the time, because I know especially for us over in Australia, it's going to be at 3:30 a.m. Over Friday night into Saturday morning. So I won't be staying up for that, as I have to get up an hour and a half later to watch the Gunners play. So I definitely won't be staying up for that, but we will have to finalise that tomorrow night. So we'll get into some of the websites. The first one, big one, is Live FPL. They've done a great job over the last couple of seasons of improving year on year and giving more available to managers. So there's a lot of stuff up there you can actually look at. I don't look at it a hell of a lot, or too much of that. Maybe the top 10k stats, which you hear. A lot of these things aren't live at the moment. Of course, the season hasn't started, so I can't really show you a few of them at the moment. But top 10k statistics and ownership, captaincy, some ranked tiers. You can look at the legendary managers, so similar to the Hall of Fame in Supercoach. You can look at that. What if is one that I shouldn't have looked at towards the end of last season, but did. You can see what would I've scored if I did this transfer. So, you probably don't get into that. You'd be kicking yourself if you did that sort of stuff. But the main one is in the middle here, in the guts. Find your game week, click on game week history in the top right when you're looking at your team, and in the URL you'll find your team ID. So this was my team ID last year, so luckily I can actually show you what is in here from last year, game week 38. So I'll go through what it actually shows, but for this season, obviously you've got a new one, so look at that. Mine's 518 this year, so got a bit of an easier one to remember, although the amount of times that I was looking at this last year, the 5-digit wasn't too hard to remember either. So they've made a lot of improvements. This is not my team at all, actually, so it has sort of it has changed somehow, but I guess we'll just look at this team and go through what everything means. So it shows you the top 10k stats, and then near you. So near you is like closer to where about you're ranked. I'm not actually sure on the exact parameters, but if in my instance top 50 here, it'll obviously show probably around the top few hundred as opposed to the whole of the top 10k. So there's always differing ownerships across different ranks. A star essentially means they're a player that's put you up a great amount of ranks, differential, and then they've actually got all the emojis up the top. Template, a rank gain, but a small one. Ghost means no rank gain. They're in like over 90% of teams, I believe. And then over 100% effective ownership is the, I'm not actually sure what you call that, but the detective emoji, and that means that it's a player that you actually don't want to score even though they're in your team. So either that's a player that's been captained to bring their actual effective ownership over 100%, which means if they score, you're going down in ranks. So it's a funny game, FPL. Sometimes you'll see that if you haven't captained that player in your team, if they're over 100%, you actually don't want them to score or score points. So that's what that means. Obviously, you've got your points in the game week, your arrow, red or green, what's happening during the week. It'll tell you what your actual, because sometimes pre-subs and post-subs, if you've got a player injured that actually hasn't registered in the game yet, Live FPL will do that for you, your live game week rank, all that sort of stuff. There's a lot more if you scroll down. It'll give you your main player on a FIFA card. Tells you a lot about other stats, but they're the main ones. And then what actually doesn't appear here, but on the right, will be top threats to your rank. So it'll build a team of actually players that you don't own that are main threats to you. So you can easily monitor that as well, who's put you down ranks in that given week. And then another thing here is just a different look at the team, where it's actually showing you how many individual spots that player scoring has made you go up or down. So obviously on the left it'll be up, on the right would be down. But for instance, Robin Koch scoring a 9-pointer here got this guy up 25 ranks. I think it's just completely made up. I don't know why it's done this, but that's the essence of it. So yeah, live FPL is good. Mainly just to see what you're ranked during a week. Obviously games are spread out across a few days, so you don't always know, but don't have to check it all the time. Obviously you can't really change anything, but sometimes it's good to know. Next one is just a different type, FPL Game Week, and it's a much easier one that allows you to see your people you want to see, across different leagues, just your mates or whatever you want to see, what they're ranked and stuff. But unfortunately, this one you can't actually see yet because it doesn't have last year's. But you click on a team, it'll show both not side by side, ownership, all that, and you can have a look where you're ranked in your leagues. You can set the league to overall, so you can look at overall as well. But that's just a little one as well. Next one is Fpl.team, and again, I'll link these all in the description below. But I've just built a team here randomly, or kind of randomly. Actually looks somewhat startable, but for instance, you put your team in here. Once the season starts, again, a lot of these websites, you'll type in your ID and it'll link it to your team straight away. So really handy. It'll just build it for you. But for instance, say this team wanted, I've done one where you want to trade or transfer Son to KDB for game week 2. You come up here, you hit next, takes it across to game week 2, changes all the fixtures so you can sort of see what's going on ahead of time and see it on the pitch. And then you just trade Son, take him out. Type in Kevin, or I might have to type in De Bruyne. It's got that set at 4.5. So Kev, and then you do that, and then you can see what it looks like. You can go and cross to another week, so you can sort of just look ahead and gauge what you think you might be wanting to do. Of course, plans always don't come to fruition. Some things change, injuries, form. Players getting dropped, stuff like that. But it's good to at least know that you're somewhat prepared for what you want to do. And early, it's probably not as relevant. Maybe later on, when double game weeks, blank game weeks, all those sorts of things are coming into the fold, and you need to sort of plan ahead. That's more when it's useful. But another thing, or good thing to know, you can go down and look at fixtures. It's kind of like the FPL website, really, but it allows you to make transfers and look at future game weeks. Which the original site doesn't. And then the last thing is probably a pretty important thing as well, although whilst it's quite ambiguous and up in the air, the price change is a different thing to a lot of the games or fantasy sports that we play over in Australia. The FPL one is really, it's largely an unknown, but at least a website like this called Fpl Statistics will give you an idea. So on the right, it'll say target, and sort of like a percentage. So this has just got everyone at 0, of course. The season hasn't started, but all the players on the first page will be the ones that are about to rise or tip to rise. They're not always going to, but say they're over 100%, it's a very high chance that they do. If they're 90 to 95, they're getting close, but sometimes ones that are 90 to 95 end up doing as well. And then if you wanted to check who's going to go down, you just go to last down here. It'll show you the ones with negative 99 or even 100 if they're going to go down. So it at least gives you an idea on who might go up, who might go down, so you're prepared for it. Doesn't always mean it's going to happen. So it is an annoying thing with FPL that it's like that, but unfortunately it's not a clear-cut sort of price rise and fall system. So another thing is there is a link as well, a Twitter account called Fpl Status, which not only price rises it posts, but any position change, or not position changes, but players that come in, from transfers, players that are injured, stuff like that, or you'll get an alert. So if you want to get that stuff, it's more game updates. Like, you're going to know an injury beforehand, but once they're flagged on the website, Fpl Status will tweet it. So it's mainly for price changes, which happen sort of every 12 hours as well. So there's you can scroll down here and see some more notes behind it. I'm not going to read them, but if you want to have a look, you can. There's just so many parameters, apparently. Like I was reading before I started this video, there's about 12 parameters apparently into price rises and falls. So look, it is really crazy, but at least this gives you an idea, and you're not going to be blindsided by it. You at least, if you check this, you'll know if it's someone's going to rise or fall. So you can't really say you weren't prepared or weren't aware. So they're the main things. Again, live FPL is probably the main one. A lot of these things, like live rank, live leagues, effective ownerships and stuff, I like looking at. They're the main one, and then probably the FPL team planner for later in the season. So they're the main ones. I'll link them in the description. But that's the last video from me tonight, and then tomorrow, which I'll record just after this, will be the team selection. So again, team selection a day out and almost a day and a half out. Since I've got to record this tonight, will be subject to change, of course, but I will tweet what I'm going with Friday night before I go to bed, and then wake up and hopefully watch the Gunners get a victory. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you got something out of this, and then I'll see you guys on the video tomorrow.